It's DJ Kirk
State. Kirk State.
Yes, I'm about to drop a case on some scams out there in the beat making world. Okay, let's go.
Anyone know what this is, class? Anyone?
A scam. Let's go. All right, man, it's your man Kirk State, aka DJ Kirk State. That's right, I'm a real DJ, not like academics and all that. I have turntables, I've done parties, I've rocked stages, I've made beats, all that, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, enough of that. Right, so this is the shout out to the beat making community, also better known also as the YouTube beat making music producer. Excuse me, I don't want to say beat making too much because somebody might get in their little panties, okay? All right, so we don't want to hurt nobody's feelings out there, you know what I'm saying? But I watch the videos with my man, Ave Mcree, right? Do a reaction to my man's Bolo Da Producer, right? And they both hit very, very, very well-spoken, well pointed out points, actual facts based on, you know, a theory, you know what I'm saying? And it's not a conspiracy for real, but they left out one big thing, right? About the loop situation. It's not about the haters, right? About people hating on Splice, people hating on loop masters, whatever the heck it's called, right? It's not about that, right? And then you also have the haters that saying, oh, sampling's not, it's not like playing real instruments, right? So, and then I always say to that, define an instrument, okay? Because a person can make an instrument from a block of wood and some tree bark in their fist, okay? So I don't want to hear none of that, you know what I'm saying? So instruments come into interpretations, all right? The main thing that my man Bolo was talking about, how people were saying, they were crying about, they would make a loop, they would make a beat, right? And then it would get a copyright strike on YouTube or social media, TikTok, etc., right? Same thing Ave Mcree was saying, he could make a beat literally live, right? And this is another side of this story that Ave Mcree brought up. You can literally make a beat live and it'll say, oh, this is, you know, a Warner Music Group, and you violated copyright or whatever, right? That has happened to me. I was literally sitting here making the beat, and it said that I was playing the songs from SWV, which if you go back, it sounds zero like SWV. You know what I'm saying? Which is silly, right? So that lets you know how good the algorithm detection is, or whatever it's called, right? Or the sound, whatever it's called, right? Okay, so detection called, right? They left out one big thing. So let me go back. Now, should I go back to the hip hop history of the scam artists, right? Or should I go back to the music business scam artists, okay? I tell you what, let's just go way back in the time. You know what I'm saying? Right. Okay, so back in the early days of the music business, right? You had these small towns with wonderful talent, folk music, rock and roll, soul, R&B, whatever you want to call it back then, right? You had a criminal element in the music business from day one, okay? Day one, all right? And I'm gonna tell you how this relates to the whole loop situation, copyrights, and all of that, right? Okay, so way back in the day when you had these small record companies, right? You had these small record companies, and people would come to these small towns, find talent, you know what I'm saying? They had the money, they had cash, because usually back in the day, the record business was all cash business, okay? So it was hard to figure out where the money was coming and how much was coming and where it was going, et cetera, where these record companies were, where they were being pressed at, et cetera, right? The only thing you was getting most authenticity, I can't even say the word, you know what I meant to say, right? Authenticity was maybe seeing it live, okay? But other than that, all right, so the criminal element from way back, right? When they started printing records, right? When they started printing, you know, when they had the record player and all of that, the criminal element was there. It was also known as the mafia, the mob, organized crime, whatever you want to call it, right? You had these guys come into town, right? And you had some legitimate, you know, people that wanted to put out good talent, right? So they would find these people. They were real talented songwriters, you know, people that play all kind of instruments, people that can sing, et cetera, right? Let's say they would put out a record, okay? Let's say somebody came in honestly and said, hey, Miss So-and-so, Style, we're going to put out the Style record, right? We're going to put this Style record out, right? And we're going to give you X amount of money, blah, blah, blah. We're going to print up this many records and you're going to get this amount, okay? And then you're going to give us part of the show, okay? These companies were scammed. Sometimes by the people that actually own the record company themselves. What they would do is they would get a record, right? They would make a record, print it, right? They would tell people that invested in them or whatever, you know, that gave them the money to print the record, to record the record, right? They would, this is one of the scams. They would take that money, right? Print up a whole bunch of records, right? Then make money from that record, okay? Take some of that money and go to someone else that prints records. It's like they would print a record, let's say in Philadelphia, right? And then they would go to Nashville to some backwoods record printing press, right? And print the same exact record with a different label and sometimes even the same label. You know what I'm saying? And they would take it to the stores and pocket the cash, okay? That was one of the scams, all right? Another scam was stealing, publishing, and things like that. Some of these mafia guys, some of these mob guys, some of these organized crime dudes, or just straight out criminals, right? They will infiltrate. They will sign people to these publishing deals, right? And then turn around, say, okay, you are Mrs. Stylist. I'm going to use Mrs. Stylist Style, right? Mrs. Stylist Style, also known as Jennifer Styles, right? You will put your name on there. It means nothing but a piece of paper. They will go take that piece of paper, erase your name, and put their daughter, their granddaughter, their wife, their cousin, godmother, whatever. They will put their name on there, and that person would get your royalty checks. They would get your whatever money that was owed to you from your publishing, songwriting credits, producing credits, etc., etc. Okay, that was another scam. Okay. Then you had now let's get into the hip hop. Okay, so that's a few scams they had way back in the day: stealing publishing, cutting their own records, or what you would call dub plates, or illegal pressings, or whatever you want to call it, right? Because you had people that had a list of records, mom and pop record stores across the country, right? They used to carry around a phone book this thick where they could go to a phone booth and call these places and make all these underground backdoor deals, and you would know nothing about it. The federal government wouldn't know, the artists wouldn't know, even some of the record company execs would not know, okay? So fast forward, here comes hip hop, bow, right? You had what they called biting, right? Which is age old, right? And it can go even back to what I was just saying about the 40s and 50s where you had songwriters, right? Somebody could have had a song written. They seen that song written. Oh, yeah? Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take that same song, rewrite it, okay? Put out the same song. Tell the stores, strong arm the stores, say, hey, don't sell this record because that's the record that they stole from. Sell this record, okay? After they done rewrote the song and made a whole new song. That has happened, okay? So anyway, fast forward to hip hop, 70s, 80s, whatever, right? The birth of the beat biter, okay? So you had people that were biting rhymes, right? They would literally hit a rhyme, be in the crowd, somebody way back in the crowd, yes, yes, y'all, to the so-and-so, y'all. They went down the street, because in New York, you can do that, right? You can go down the street, nobody knows nobody down there, right? And they could recite the same rhyme, right? And then maybe a month or two later, next summer, they caught up with, hey, yo, what's up? You bit my beat, man. Bow, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so that was another form, right? You had the beat biting. You had not just I meant to say the rhyme biting, and then you had the certified beat biting, where someone would take a style of beat, right? Now, I've heard, now big up to Rick Rubin. I don't know if it's true. I don't know that man. I seen the Dr. Dre, from the MTV Dr. Dre, said that Rick Rubin was the biggest beat biter of all, right? I don't know about all of that, but let's say that someone like Rick Rubin's statue or whatever was a beat biter, okay? It was real easy, even back in the 80s, to someone to take that style of beat and remake it, you know what I'm saying? And people were always accusing each other of being beat biters, okay? So you had that element, and which I would call, it was criminal, or what you say, you might have broke the street code, because you wasn't authentic in hip hop, okay? So that was a no-no, right? So then, fast forward now, it's okay to write rhymes for somebody else and all that other good stuff, right? So now you have loops, okay? So now you have loops. You have the loop tracks, masters, whatever it's called. You got Splice, you got this and that. You got all these places where you can buy pre-made loops, right? And of course, people are putting there, you can't do this and do that with it. You know what I'm saying? You can't rebrand it and all that other stuff, okay? You break the terms agreement, you're going to owe them money and all this other stuff, right? This is the one thing that Ave Mcree and Bolo forgot to mention. Well, they didn't forget to mention, or maybe they just didn't realize it, or maybe they do. I don't know, okay? There are people out there that have Splice accounts for the sole purpose of committing a criminal act. And I would call it a criminal act. I mean, you might call it biting. You might call it a scam. Okay, let's call it a scam, right? There are people out there with Splice accounts for the sole reason they have a Splice account is to commit a scam, all right? And what they would do, they would sit there, wait for the newest loop pack, sample pack, drum pack, whatever the heck you want to call it, right? They would literally drag and drop those loops, okay? Create a song. They did not alter the loops. They did not chop up the drums. They didn't add any effects. They did not do anything. They just dragged and dropped what was in the loop pack, put it out with their tune core. This was before DistroKid came into play, right? So TuneCore back in the day, they would take that, put it out real quick, and and then it was their song because they was the first one to put it out, right? You see what I'm saying? So you had these people, there are people out there, and I'm gonna put it out there, man. They are out there scamming, okay? They are not into making music, original music. They are not into chopping. They are not into playing any chords. All they want is the freaking cash. You know what I'm saying? All they're getting is the cash. And this is the reason why your stuff is getting flagged by Warner Music Group, et cetera, et cetera. And then you go look and it says the Who crew, the what, the so-and-so, what? And you go look it up and it's some random act or random artist or whatever, right, that you never heard of, and they basically own their song. But they own the song because, and I'm gonna blame half on some of you guys. You don't get too creative with some of these loops. I ain't gonna lie, it makes a lot of you cats lazy. Let's say that. It makes a lot of you cats lazy, right? So you cannot blame it on Splice. You know what I'm saying? And so you got 50-50, you got the scam artists out there that are just straight taking loops, making a song, putting it out in the same day, right? You know what I'm saying? And they're making tons of money off of this. This is happening every day, but a lot of you guys don't realize it, right? So this is the same way, like everybody has an IG account, right? And you ever got you know, you made it in IG when scammers started hitting you up talking about they can make you an album cover, right? And you go look into their account, and then you go look at someone else's account that makes album art, and it's the exact same freaking pictures. You know what I'm saying? There are people there are people out there that tell you how to do this. You can pay them, and they give you a list of entertainment, social media come-ups, but I'm gonna call them scams, okay? Saying, oh yeah, you can make $100 a day doing this, right? So they would take that, they would get on Fiverr and steal artwork and say they did it, right? You give them $40, and then they paid $20 for it, so they just made $20 right out the gate. You know what I'm saying? By hiring somebody on Fiverr, you know what I'm saying? And they didn't make a thing. They were being the middleman, right? So I'm not saying being middleman is scamming, but these are the things that are happening out there, okay? So I'm just putting it out there, man. There's a criminal element, and I'm not saying all of it is. Yes, you have the lazy music producer, beat maker out there, you know what I'm saying? But you also have this scammer out there that are taking these loops soon as they jump off on all of these sites. I don't even really use a lot of them, but they're out there, so I can't really tell you a lot of their names. But they're taking these pre-made loops. They're not doing anything with them but dragging and dropping, right? And coming up and putting a song out just like that. And before you know it, they're getting money. And then you got a lazy beat maker out there that goes out there and try to put a song out. He also dragging and dropping, and he might try to switch it up a little bit, right? And then they're blaming Splice and all this other crap. You know what I'm saying? So I said all this to say, man, be original when using these loop packs, these sound packs, whatever the heck you want to call them. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, I put out my own drum packs, right? So I ain't got no stipulation with my joints. You can put them out and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like this. It ain't going to get too sticky, but just don't put, you not Kirk State, I'm Kirk State. You know what I'm saying? So you just can't go ahead and put the joint out because, hey, man, we might come out there and see you doing that, right? Everybody can be found. Anybody can be found. We just going to say that. We ain't going to no threats or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Kirk State loves everybody. You know what I'm saying? But stop being lazy is the point I'm trying to make, because you got scammers out there. And then, of course, you know, you won't get too far with the YouTube content IDs and all that other TikTok ID, whatever the heck they call it. You know what I'm saying? You get your joint taken down. If you're going to use loop packs, use them wisely and creatively. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And just to add on to my man, Ave Mcree and Bolo, man, they have made great points and all of that. I watch those cats all the time. You know what I'm saying? You know, Bolo has great advice. He got a funny channel. You know what I mean? I got funny social media. Ave Mcree is very knowledgeable. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they just did not mention the criminal element to the whole loop. I want to say genre. I might have lost words sometimes, but you know, the whole loop, just say the criminal element in the whole loop industry, okay? So yeah, this is your man Kirk State. This is my thoughts, man. And actually, some of these a lot of this is actual facts. You know what I'm saying? You can go and research, get on Google, get on your Google machine, you know what I'm saying? And you can go type in mafia mob involvement in the record business. And they're gonna show you some of the scams. There's plenty of articles out there of people having you know, they're publishing stolen, etc., right? But a lot of people they're not knowledgeable about the hip-hop criminal element of people not just beat biting, but literally stealing everything. They hear your song, right? Now I've had people take some of my songs from IG, and especially, I'm telling you what, I definitely had somebody take some of my stuff from Facebook, right, and play it in front of other rappers, right, and say that they made it. And it got back to me all the way over here in Maryland, all the way over here. Yo, I heard this beat. It's the same beat so-and-so over in so-and-so. Yeah. So I know about all of that stuff. But anyways, your man Kirk State, and I'm just dropping a little knowledge, man. Keep your ear open. Be creative. Stop being lazy, man. Just stop it. And stop being a damn criminal. And don't pay off. Peace. I'm out of here. Let's go.
Kirk State, Kirk State, Kirk State, Kirk State.